Okay, in the last video, we were talking about how when we use the green and the yellow tape for hot cross or cold cross buns, that we usually don't have both of them in the same song. It's not as common to do that. We do find it, but it's not as common. Normally, we either have one that's just with the yellow tapes, and then any other notes that happen to be there, or just with the green tapes on a given string. And there's technical reasons why that is, but which we won't go into right now. This song that we have for Red Belt, and wow, Red Belt, you're almost there. Two more belts, huh? Um, so for Red Belt, we actually do use both tapes. And so this is actually going to be a little easier for cello players than it is for violin and viola players. So because cello players can just play 4, 3, 2, 1, you can just play it with the required fingering involved. For violin and viola players, you have to slide your finger, and that's why in your book for the technique portion of it, it talks about the second finger slide. Now, within Tumbleweeds, there's a little part of it that happens pretty much every line, at the end of every line, and usually at the end of the line going into the next line. So, and this is what we call a triplet, and it's three fast notes, and there's a fourth note because it sort of ends on the fourth note. There's a triplet, then the last note. So, for example, tumbling down. That's one of the triplets involved in this particular piece. In terms of colors, is blue, green, yellow, red. So it's using each of them in order. Now, it really pays to learn this part first because you do it every line, and it is probably the hardest of the parts. So if I were doing it on cello, let's say, and again, this is a song that's done just on one string, and you're going to do it just on each of the strings individually. So the first time you might do it on the A string, you might do it next on the D string, you might do it next on the G string, you might do it next on the C string, again, if you're a cello player. Or for violin, it would be on the E string instead. That, let's say if you're cello and you're on the D string, this triplet becomes 4, 3, 2, 1, and you don't have very many open strings on this. Almost everything happens to be at least one finger. There's one open string note that happens to be there. For violin and viola, actually the only finger that you don't use is your pinky in this. You'll get to do that in black belt. But let's say you are on, I'm in violin, so this is my A string. If I were on viola, this would be my D string, where we go from blue. Now notice how my second finger is already where the green tape would be. It's right next to where the third finger, right next to where the blue is. So it goes blue, green, yellow, red. You see it slide? Blue, green, yellow, red. Now, I'm going to do it first just sort of singing through the colors of this for violin and viola players so that it's easier to see on the camera. And I'll sing it by color for right now. There are words to the song. I wrote this song. I figured there should be some words to it. It makes it a little bit more fun to play. But to learn to play it, we'll also do it with the colors. So the first line: red, red, blue, red, yellow, yellow, blue. And notice my second finger is already creeping up there, so I can go blue, green, yellow, red, red, blue, red, yellow, yellow, blue. Creep it up there. Blue, green, yellow, red, red, yellow, yellow. Slide it. Green, green, blue, blue, green, yellow, red, red, yellow. Open. That's the only one in the whole song. Red, blue, green, yellow, red. So on every single triplet, no matter where that second finger was before, it has to come. We have to start the triplet like this. So most of the time, as you're playing the blue, I talked about how you got to bring your second finger up to get it ready. Okay, so that's why your second finger has to learn to be kind of nimble to be able to move on its own. Good exercise would be to put your first finger on the red and third finger on the blue, and just sort of play like a little tennis match between them with your second finger. Here it is touching the first, here it is touching the third. Back and forth and back and forth. Green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow. Right? If you do a really good job of making a difference between that low second finger and that high second finger, you're going to be farther ahead than most people who learn in school, because that's a very, very common bad habit. Is it's the low second isn't quite low enough. It's just kind of near it, and then the high second isn't really much different. It ends up being kind of halfway in between, where there is no tape, where there really isn't a note. I mean, there is a note, but it's not one that not the goal, not the one that we're trying to get. So I want to try really, really hard to make sure that you have it's definitely right next to the first, or definitely right next to the third, or close to it. Okay, so here it is. I'm just going to do it on one string, just for the sake of time, but you do the exact same combination of colors on each of the strings. I'm going to do this on the D string, just to start. So I start on the red, nice long bows. Red, red, blue, red, yellow, and blue. Here's my triplet. I sneak it up and triplet. Slide, red, blue, red, yellow, blue, sneak it up, blue, green, yellow, red, yellow, green, blue, green, yellow, red, yellow. Now open. Red, triplet, blue, green, yellow, red. Good. Now hear that the triplet is being a triplet. The word try in triplet, T-R-I, means three. So it's three notes in the space of one, which means we've got to make it 3 times as fast. So if our long notes are red, blue, red, yellow, blue, green, yellow, red, right? It's going to have that 3 pulse within there. So one way to do that is to try to make those long notes very long, so that when you get to the triplet, it doesn't have to go super fast. Okay? We have to balance the two things out to make sure that the triplet is definitely 3 times as fast as the longer notes. Okay? We don't want it to be the same speed. Red, red, blue, red, yellow, blue, green, yellow, red. That's wrong, right? That's not the right tempo. Blue, green, yellow, red, ba-da-da-dum, right? So the blue, green, yellow, those 3 notes have to fit in the space of one of each of the other notes. The red one that it lands on is just the first note of the next line. Right, so it's like the triplet sort of ties into the next line. So that, again, thinking about the words, tumbling down, right, rumbling down, etc. All of these things are a little faster sung, and this will help you also get a feel for the song. So I will spend some time in class with words for this as well. But hopefully that helped. If not, or if you have comments to make, please send me an email, skeletonj@norwalkps.org.